Okay, so we are going to work on problems that we call how many solutions. So there's going to be 3 answer choices. One of them is infinite, which we draw like this. Then there's 1 solution. And then there is no solution. So I would recommend writing those at the top of your paper so that you remember what those 3 choices are. So let's start with number 1. Just like normal, we need to just start solving our equation. So we want to get all of the x's on one side. Since this x is negative, I'm going to go ahead and add it on this side. Then whatever I do on one side of the equation, I must do to the other side. So add x. Okay, negative x plus x turns into 0. So I'll just cross that out. Then x plus x, 1x and another x gives me 2 x's. So now I have 2x minus 7, and on this side, 13. Now that I have the x's on one side, I need to get the coefficients on the other side. The constants, excuse me, the constants. Thanks, Mr. Anderson. Okay, so plus 7 on here, on this side, and we have to do it to the other side as well. So negative 7 plus 7 turns into 0, and 13 plus 7 is 20. So now we have 20 equals 2x. Then, of course, since 2 and x are being multiplied, we would divide by 2, do the opposite. That turns into 1. 20 divided by 2 is 10. So I'm going to bring this over here. 10 equals x. So with this as our answer, when we look up at the 3 answer choices, this answer would be 1 solution because the variable is equal to 1 number. Okay, so 1 solution problems are just like all the equations that we've been solving previously in class, where there's 1 answer. So underneath the answer, we would write 1 solution. Okay, let's go on to number 2. Since we see parentheses, and there's parentheses on both sides and variables on both sides, we know the first thing that we always have to do is distribute. Do the parentheses first. So I'm going to distribute this 8 with the 2x and the 8 with the negative 3. 8 times 2x is 16x, and 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. So I make sure to have this negative sign here. Then I do the other side, same thing. Distribute 4 times 4x would be 16x. Then 4 times negative 8 is negative 32. Now, just as we did on number 1, moving the x's to the same side, we want to do that here. So I'll choose this 16x, although you could choose this one too. So I'll do minus 16x, since this is a positive. Then whatever I do to this side, I must do to the other side. So 16x minus 16x is 0. Then on this side, something you haven't seen before is when we do 16x minus 16x, it's the same as it was on the other side. It's also 0. So the variable, the x, is now gone. So now we have on one side, negative 24 is all that's left, and on the other side, negative 32. So this would be our answer. Negative 24 equals negative 32. Now, if we look up at our 3 choices, is it 1 solution? It's not 1 solution because we don't have a variable equals a number like we had here. It is actually no solution because this is not true. Does negative 24 equal negative 32? Are those the same numbers? Okay, they're not. So that means that there is no solution because these numbers can't equal each other. Now, if you look back up, just kind of a hint, whenever the variable goes away, if the variable is the same on both sides, positive 16x like it was here, and positive 16x, we know that that's going to eventually disappear, which is going to leave us with a constant equaling another constant, which this is not true. Okay, so that's why it's no solution. So now we'll do number 6. Is it 6? Okay, number 6. 2x minus 5x plus 4 equals 4 minus 3x. Are there any parentheses in this problem? No, so that means we don't have to distribute, but the next thing that we do after distributing would be combine like terms. Let's check both sides. Are there any terms, like terms, that we can combine on this side? No, there are not. How about on this side? 2x minus 5x plus 4. Yes, these are like terms because they both have the same variable. So 2x minus 5x would be negative 3x, and we still have the plus 4 equals, what's left on this side is 4 minus 3x. Now we're going to get the variables on the same side, just as we always do, plus 3x plus 3x. This becomes 0, and this also becomes 0. It's negative 3. If we have negative 3 and then we get 3, that means we have canceled it out, so we're at 0. So that leaves us with 4 equals 4. And when the answer equals each other, when it's the same thing on both sides, going back to our 3 choices, it's not one solution, it's not no solution, but it is infinite solutions. So underneath your answer, you would put infinite. Oh, you can't see that. Here we go. You would put infinite because the answer equals each other. Now, just as we kind of went backwards up on number 2, let's look backwards here. Negative 3x plus 4 and 4 minus 3x, we could rewrite those. And we have the same 4 minus 3x equals 4 minus 3x. Already, we could see that these were the same. And if it's the same on both sides, we would have already known that this was infinite. So it's easy to realize sometimes earlier in the problem, but it is still helpful and still a good idea to work through the entire thing to get your final answer and then pick how many solutions. Okay, so we have one solution, no solution, and infinite solutions.